the game, which I actually usually have. Honestly, I don't really agree with what Sean said there on the desk for Froggen being the, what the analyst said there as a chess master. I feel Froggen does really well within the ecosystem that is just mid lane, but I feel as a team, Elements aren't really using him well enough. But a lot of these games, Froggen did get ahead, but the game was kind of lost before he could actually translate that lead.
The ecosystem of the mid lane is being hit more heavily than we've seen in a number of games. Yi and TF taken away from Froggen. Varus and Cog taken away from PowerOfEvil. Jace is available, but PoE's not run it yet.
Honestly, I think it's smart to target PowerOfEvil in the Unicorns because yesterday relied a lot on him, and a lot of their compositions rely on that one poke champion that he plays. Unicorns, when they play poke, they don't do it in the traditional sense where they have one poke champion augmented, with a bot lane AP damage, a carry, and top. No, they seem to build like these compositions that all are in favor of making PowerOfEvil carry. So if you take away that pick, you could definitely do great things. Unicorns actually with a very interesting third ban on the Kalista, saying, okay guys, you have to switch up your pre-planning because they saw, okay, Morgana's kind of open too, so you have this preset plan going into champs like these 3 bans that you don't really expect the blue team to ban either Kalista or Sivir. Third ban on the Kalista, this leaves Sivir open for first pick Unicorns. Just that's going really quick right now, so Elements immediately reply, they say we think Ryze is strong and we want to get Hylissang's champion pool hit because he's renowned for that Morgana. He's a fantastic Thresh player too, so we have to dig a little deeper.
So 2 things about those last bans. That's the 9th time in 14 games that UOL have banned Kalista. Obviously set them up for that first pick, and it's the 11th time in 14 games that Hylissang has been denied this Morgana. With those quick lock-ins, all of a sudden the tempo has slowed down. Kikis has his choice of junglers. That pool has not been touched at all. Alistar's still available if they want that for a support role. Poke is still available. We've seen Froggen playing it in the past, and we've seen Hylissang running Braum into it. Instead, PoE is going to go with the flavor of the patch, and it looks to be Runeglaive Ezreal.
Yeah, they don't want another AD component in the mid lane with that Jace poke. They say, okay, we can counter it with a potential Braum shield later if we want. Unicorns, they lock in Shen. We've seen that in the top lane before, usually from them. It has been played as a support over in NA and now recently over in Europe too with Hylissang picking it up. So that's a flex on the Shen. It's an Ezreal mid lane with the actual bringing the AP damage in. So now the damage is well balanced for the Unicorns. Elements, obviously, the third pick in line is Corki. We've talked about it so much, so we don't really have to explain that too much. It's likely that Tabzz will pick it up right here. And Elements is a team traditionally like to counter pick 5th pick for Froggen, even sometimes when mid lane is already revealed.
What does Froggen want to run into this Runeglaive? Touching on the Shen and the Corki, if it gets locked in, they will be the most played champions for Vizicsacsi and for Tabzz. With Nautilus locked in, Jwaow is going to run that top as he did yesterday against...
That means Ryze mid.
Team Rocket, and that does mean Ryze mid into the ranged poke from PowerOfEvil.
Yeah, this was a little interesting because they were hovering the Corki and then decided to switch their AD carry to the last place. So I'm like, okay, that's alright, but then I see 2 top laners all of a sudden. Ryze and Nautilus. I don't think we've seen much Ryze mid. It seems okay, if he can get the snare on Ezreal, he can do a whole lot of damage, but I feel later in the game, he will just get vastly outranged and Elements will have to find a way to close the gap. Yesterday, we saw them have a rough early to mid game because obviously Evelyn's build Warrior first, leaves them very squishy in the game. She's also a secondary engagement, not a primary engagement. So everything rests on Jwaw's shoulders to get in there with them Nautilus. Let's see if the Unicorns are ready for that. They're about to round out their composition here. Ooh.
So, Elise is locked in with Alistar as well. So Unicorns of Love have highlighted their bottom lane, Sivir, Alistar. We're expecting Shen to go top, and the return of the Spider Lady, Kikis, for his swan song. Going back to a champion that did receive some changes, a little bit of sustain. And the Rat as well.
Rat.
Galio, Elise, Twitch.
Changing things up, let's see. It's very hard to spell shield and expunge, because obviously it's hard to tell when he's going to use that. That lane Twitch Thresh is really tricky to play against. It actually plays well into Alistar Sivir because Alistar is just too short range as a melee range, so that's fine for them. Unicorns going with that traditional approach to the game where they actually run a very tanky top laner, tanky split push. Tend to do that a lot. And then yeah, everything's going to rely around these double threat, right? You have the Ezreal and the Sivir. Should be enough damage in the late game should they get there.
Should they get there? Yesterday, Unicorns of Love were able to get to the late game against Copenhagen Wolves. it'll be a whole different kettle of fish against Elements, who also needed the late game against Roccat to pick up a win.
I mean, Elements do have a lot more damage than Unicorns in the late game. However, it'll all come down to how well Chachi can soak that up, and then how well those cocoons set up for multiple plays. Honestly, that will be key. Watching Kikis see if he can use that. I believe it was slightly reduced in width as a particle, and that was one of the many nerfs to Elise, which made her fall off the tier list in the jungle. She's brought back now. Wonder what build he's gonna run on it too.
Well, I've got no idea. Gonna have to find out in game. Of course, some of the changes, including the sustain, but I quite like the repel, giving additional damage and healing to Spider form.
But do you really want to repel into a fight? I'm not quite sure.
I certainly do, Krepo. Everybody jump on Twitter and let us know. Hashtag UOL win or hashtag EL win. Will it be the rat or the spider picking up their first win in summer? Elements or the Unicorns? We'll find out in 30 to 45 minutes.
So while the... yeah, exactly. While the Elise is peculiar, while the Ratatat is peculiar, what strikes me most is this Ryze in the mid lane. And perhaps he can get it through the laning phase, perhaps he deals a lot of damage, but I feel like he'll get outranged very, very significantly so by that Ezreal later in the game.
Krepo, what I'm learning is we need to basically just keep an eye on these oddball picks. For Unicorns, they're breaking out Runeglaive, as well as the jungle Elise.
Now, yesterday we saw something from Elements that we've seen before, is their bot lane falling behind. Whether it's to match up and just poor level 1, not poor, but greedy level 1 strategy. And then they needed Dexter to fix that. He's the band-aid man. Everybody on Elements occasionally has a boo-boo, and then Dexter comes in, puts out the band-aid, and then they stay even in the game. But they rely so hard on him to do so. I would just like to see Elements actually go 50-50 and then allow Dexter to find openings to get them ahead, rather than to put them back in even spot. Hopefully this game might be different for Elements.
Oh, they'll definitely be wanting to. Both teams with victories yesterday, both looking for a 2-0 with only 3 weeks worth of games left to play. It's so important. But if there is somebody that'll know the ins and outs of Elise, I think Dexter's going to have pretty good history with Elise.
No, me and Dexter used to actually duo queue a lot with the Thresh Elise lane, and he's a very, very big fan of Elise as a champion. Sadly, she's just not that good anymore. Looks like Elements are setting up for a Gromp. A potential start here. Let's see if Nyph has graduated from Gromp school and is going to play it backwards towards his lane.
We won't find out.
We won't find out. I'm going to find out on my screen. Cheating.
And Kikis is starting on his own Grump. So, Gromp school, what was the grade from Nyph and Tabzz?
A+, he flayed back twice, which means a shorter path to his lane. Beautiful. PvE. You can do it. It's completely scripted, so you can maximize those Gromps and Golems to your favor. Looks like Elements get a 1 extra creep, I believe. So they should have the advantage more so that they are obviously playing double range into a melee range support there on Hylissang. So what you're going to see is Hylissang is likely going to skill heal level 2. This wave is going to push back eventually. Not much action is going to happen here in the bot lane, I feel.
And of course, Hylissang, starting with the coin, not going to get those relic shield stacks. Now, as we mentioned, a long time ago, since these two teams faced off, it was also ranged poke from UOL that helped them scale ahead and win. Kog'Maw in the middle lane for PowerOfEvil. This time round, Ezreal in the middle lane. Talking about that middle lane, PowerOfEvil's trying to deal with Froggen Ryze. So we'll have to track how well they can CS and how long it'll take PoE to basically get enabled. Because these Runeglaive builds, I mean, they need 2 full items before they become a true terror.
Yeah, a bit of a stalemate here in the game as we get a pause, so it gives us more time to analyze that early game.
Froggen, please.
We never know who it is. Let's not make any assumptions here.
Statistically speaking, Froggen, Krepo, old CLGU started the trend.
To be fair, it may have been my brother, because every time, this is a story you guys don't really know, the first time my brother actually visited the match was the Season 2 match against World Elite. So this is the first time the guy actually comes to watch League of Legends, no clue what it is. 8-hour pause. So he says, okay, screw this.
Just stop for a second. For those who don't remember, 8-hour pause.
Yeah. That was a long time. So he comes back a year later to ESL Studios somewhere in Cologne. It's like, I'll check out this game again. Another 3-hour pause. So perhaps it wasn't Froggen. Perhaps it wasn't me. Perhaps
yeah, but again, we swap on. This is the first game you and I are casting, Krepo, of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Froggen, please. Anyways, we are digressing somewhat.
A little bit.
We'll find out from the admins and the QA guys exactly what the reason for the pause is.
Back to the game.
Quick keyboard problem, I'm told, as we get...
There is no such thing as a quick keyboard problem on stage. But yeah, I think this game will pan out just very evenly until the junglers show their face. So there's a good likelihood, given their starting positions, that they will meet up at the Scuttle Crab and fight over who gets that vision dominance. Or if Dexter can actually use his invisibility to sneak in somewhere, and then it's obviously up to Kikis to read that and counter gank. That is kind of the plan right there. But I don't think too much is going to happen because this lane on bottom is very even. For example, top lane is a bruiser fest. Shen and Nautilus, they can hit each other for days and nobody's going anywhere close to dying. If Ryze ends up pushing in the mid lane, perhaps he can get ganked. So that's maybe somewhere where we see Kikis go, but Dexter can't really find an opening on the Ezreal. So it's a very, very weird game right now because Dexter, if you put yourself in his shoes, right, that's what these junglers do. Like Dexter obviously is in his shoes himself, and Kikis tries to imagine what Dexter will do. Dexter can't go bot, he can't go mid lane right now, so he actually has to invade and just find Kikis. Because Kikis does have ganking opportunities.
I'm not going to see him this time around, Krepo.
No, but he saw that the racer down, and this again gives you information because he has a good idea of where Kikis started, given that he's Elise, given that his bot lane took golems. He knows the racer down, so he can kind of deduce, given to the states of the lanes as well. I mean, it's unlikely Kikis is going to show top, unlikely that he's going to show mid, given the state of the lane, so he must be hovering around bottom somewhere.
Even Steven start. Small advantage bottom, but the wave is pushing into Vardags and Hylissang, and this is obviously due to that melee support.
Now you actually have the part where Alistar has he literally has one opportunity, because he needs that Q flash to then headbutt somebody backwards, and that's all he has, because you can't use your combo offensively to win trades. It just doesn't work anymore, because there's not enough follow-up burst, and then you really want to space out those abilities, so you want to flash in first. And then we saw that yesterday against the Copenhagen Wolves by the Unicorns, I believe, as well, where they found that one opening on freeze, and that was enough. But if you miss that Q flash, then the next 5 minutes of your lane will be utterly boring farming.
Well, we've got slow farming lanes for the time being. That may be disrupted as Dexter's going to show his face up top. With the amount of CC Nautilus offers, if Chachi can get caught, this could be painful.
Jwaow has to be careful not to give it away. Chachi knows right now.
Well, yeah. Chachi's going to taunt, get caught by the
Chachi should have flashed.
The Riptide comes out, he flashes below 100, and Dexter gets first blood.
Vizicsacsi, that was too obvious. The second Nautilus walks forward, you saw, he spotted, he immediately taunted out. He saw the dredge light come, and he just stayed in position. Then he flashed after. Big mistake from Vizicsacsi. Should have survived that easily and just wasted the Elms' time. And
once again, Dexter shows just how impactful he is in the early game. So many times this split, Dexter has shown up in a lane, secured kills, really helped to impact. I mean, 14 games played, 8 of those times, Elements as a team have been able to pick up first blood. We'll need to see whether or not Dexter can use that to snowball. And we're working towards that warrior enchant you talked about as well.
Yeah, definitely underrated at times. Yeah, that's the weakness of Evelyn sometimes. She can be sneaky, go around in invisibility and find an opening, but she is very squishy in early game. She has a decent amount of damage because she builds a warrior, but she is squishy. Yesterday we saw it too. Froggen around the 50-minute mark, we're sitting on like 1200 HP, Dexter on 1400. If you take one bad fight, people turn it around on you. So you have to be very smart in your approach.
Yeah, and of course with the way that you build Ryze since, well, 3-4 patches now, he's also relatively squishy. So we're going to be very interested to see how Elements handle the flanking and the team fighting, and whether or not PowerOfEvil is going to find the poke. Jwaw's already started with an early Spirit Visage. I mean, there's going to be a lot of AP damage from Elise.
Yeah, he gets a Spectre's
Shen.
Yeah, he gets a Spectre's cowl to deal with those Vorpal Blades, and he might actually opt not to finish it and just go straight into a Righteous Glory right after, but he wants that early magic resistance to be able to get the push advantage at least, because if you play against a Shen, you really want to get him locked under tower, so at least he loses something when he ultis out. Because if his lane is pushing and he ultis out, he can get back in time with a teleport, just basing where your jungle takes over. But you really want to punish that global. That's definitely something you want to keep in mind when you play against a Shen.
Alright, I want to talk a little bit more about Twitch, because Tabzz came into this match with the lowest CS difference at 10 minutes of any AD carry. He's usually down 9 CS at 10 minutes. Now, the reason I want to highlight it is he's on a champion that is particularly well known for backing to get that Blade of the Rune King and then starting to roam. How telegraphed is that going to be, and how experienced are you? Well, considering Twitch fell out of the meta.
It is telegraphed. You play against a lot of Twitches, in my opinion. It's the same thing when Evelyn came back on the scene. People just forgot that she was invisible and they forgot how to approach her. You know, you still saw teams ward their river for no reason instead of warding the camps. Same thing with Twitch. You're just not used to playing against a champion anymore, and that is part of his strength. In addition to that, Tabzz is actually a good Twitch player, and he's a smart player. Even though he's down a lot of CS, I feel it's a joint effort to get that CS in lane, and honestly speaking, his supports this split haven't been all that stellar. I promise you, was shaky, hit and miss. Nyph had a couple of games, but also dropped the ball a couple of times. So a bot lane is only as strong as his weakest link, of course.
We'll see whether or not Tabzz can make that work. Of course, the Twitch Evelyn flanks, when you combo that with CC from Nautilus and Ryze, they have the makings of a terror roaming squad once they get enabled. But take a look at the CS. Small advantage for Froggen, as we know that Ezreal takes a long time to power up. Small advantage for Chachi, actually, despite giving up a death. Jwaow not farming as effectively, and Kikis is hanging out.
Kikis hanging out, not necessarily for a gank. It may be a counter gank too, because we know Chachi doesn't have his flash anymore. We saw earlier Jwaow tried to bait the aggression, and then Evelyn might be around. Kikis sitting here for the gank.
Oh!
Tom goes wide, so that kind of backfires. Froggen's trying to solo blue buff reset, so he's low on mana. So Froggen losing some tempo here. It's gonna take a while.
This is gonna be the most exciting blue buff kill ever. Froggen's autoing. He's autoing again. Nyph! He's coming to help. Froggen continues to auto attack, and he gets it. Yes.
Takes the safe route back.
You clap for that blue buff.
Respect for Froggen is not gonna pass by because they don't want to get sniped by a Pepinero right there.
Wow, another dredge line connects. There's no flash for Chachi. Mines go out. The bigger mine follows, and Dexter will hate his spikes into Chachi's behind.
Yeah, 2-0 for Dexter right now. Finds two openings. This is exactly why Kikis was posturing around that lane earlier, because he said maybe Dexter's gonna come back. Dexter with a different timing in mind finds another opening. Yet again, he's deciding the pace of the early game, and I really like the term that Sean's used on the desk. He is the metronome for elements. Sorry, Sean's, but I'm gonna steal that from now on. I mean, borrow.
Borrow, I prefer.
I think it's a fantastic term, and honestly, there's a lot of truth to it.
Seems to be a solid early game strategy for elements. I also like the idea of getting Jwaow to be nice and tanky as the primary front line for elements and point and click engage with that ulti. Hylissang knows he's not spotted because he stood on it.
They know he's there. They know he's there.
Froggen
They pinged him out.
saw him sneak in, so Hylissang's gonna...
So here's my pink ward, guys.
Take it!
I'm not quite sure if you should really knock people into the pink ward. That's what Hylissang wants to do. He wants to get the deep vision out and try and spot Dexter on the camps. Kikis, he might find himself trapped here.
Seems like Unicorns going in one by one into the jungle. Kikis may get punished for this. Look how effective
They know he's there. They know he's there.
Unicorns are at responding. There's a flash available and a repel. So repel's been used. Cocoon connects. Froggen flashes. Dexter's on a killing spree. Oh,
He wants to get back in time for his farm. Froggen says, okay, we have him 100% secured, but my farm is dying to my tower, guys. I have to teleport back, so he flashes in for the kill. But in the end, Dexter kind of still picked it up, so Froggen expends his flash. Arguable whether it's worth it or not. But yeah, 3-0 for Elements in a very weird start, even though the gold is bang on even. Where is that coming from, man?
Tower is going to be helping out UOL. They just secure it. And also Krepo. It seems like Froggen may have been scrimming Giants this week. Teleport in the mid lane. Or Charu, depending on if we're going to go history again. 2 teleports for Elements to push down these waves. Dexter with a fantastic early game.
I like the teleport on the Ryze because you have to back a couple of times for these key items that you want to get early. You want to get the tier, you want to get the catalyst in place. Very often you get out-sustained or out-pushed and a little out-poked since you're a scaling mid laner. So in that regard, I can see the teleport because Ryze yields a lot of tempo in the game. And then other teams can capitalize on that by, you know, roaming around about, getting towers, getting objectives. But Elements are keeping this game even with the kills. Yet again, this is the story of Dexter right now because he finds these openings continuously, out-jungling Kikis right now, and this allows Elements to scale up to that late game where they'll have so much damage.
Yeah, leading up to this point, Dexter's already dealt 1,400 damage to champions. Kikis has dealt 200. Admittedly, Dexter's got 3 kills, and Kikis has found a dragon, so you can see how the two styles are beginning to clash. Runeglaive Elise.
Yep.
I'm going to keep tracking this itemization because it is the first jungle Elise we're seeing in summer. Runeglaive also completed for PoE. But I'm not really afraid of that Ezreal until that Ludens is purchased.
Yeah, he's still waiting for a spike too in the mid lane, so very passive approach in the mid lane. As expected right now from PowerOfEvil more and more, and you see Unicorns with the traditional rotation to top lane, they take one tower, but Elements react, they don't send their bot lane bot again because they know this is coming, so good read from them in terms of the game. So good adaptation right now. They have a freeze on the Shen in the bot lane though, so Elements need to make something happen, use that numbers advantage.
Vardags gets caught out, Spell Shield doesn't accomplish a whole lot on the hunt used, and here comes Hylissang.
Dexter still has his ultimate available.
Flying at a mile a minute. And we also saw some key items picked up across the board, as you mentioned. Tabzz with that blade. He's going to be moving to actually find Chachi in the bottom lane. Dexter's caught out. We see one of those little spiderlings dredge line. Agony's Embrace comes out from Dexter, but he is shut down by the spider, sinking the fence.
It's very hard for Nautilus to connect that dredge line on Elise. Has the safety of the miniature bodyguards right there. Good Shen ulti, but the lane was still frozen in the bot lane, so Elements can capitalize with an extra tower. However, they have to yield their top tower. Just to see if Froggen can get something in the mid lane. While Pepinero was picking up his blue buff, I believe. Yep, he picked himself. PowerOfEvil.
Close enough. You know what? It's Runeglaive mid. Peppy shot.
What's in the name, anyways?
Tabzz is going to get the bottom tower. And we did see Unicorns getting their second tower. It's a small gold advantage to the Unicorns. They also have the first dragon. We did see PowerOfEvil defending the
Sorry, Trev. This is the repeat of what happened yesterday for Elements. Dexter got ahead until a couple of kills. He was involved in 3, and then they overreached a little bit, and they got caught off guard. Luckily for them, it only cost them 1 kill right now, in addition to those 2 towers. Yesterday it was 3 kills in a tower where Rocket shifted the momentum, so... Dexter, he's now biding time. He wants to get tanky because he has the damage secured. The more tanky he gets right now, we'll see, want to hit that sweet spot mid-game with that Evelyn and just find those openings, flank. He's a secondary engage. You want to lure people into a choke point and then get behind them, pop that Evelyn ulti for the massive shield and just buy enough time for your team to follow up.
And Jwaow actually didn't go for that Righteous Glory first, and in fact finished off Banshee's Veil as his first item. And there is a lot of magic damage from UOL, single target cocoon, feint.
I'm sure if
until Ezreal starts spamming Mystics, I can kind of see it, but the moment they do start grouping, I think
in the mid lane, we're looking at a dive here.
Hylissang misses one. Nyph lands a death sentence. Hylissang's going to be able to Unbreakable Will. Good flash defensively from Nyph.
Yeah, Hylissang tried to taxi himself on Nyph there, knock him away, and then get in position to get to Froggen. Good read by Froggen. He steps forward into the danger, so to say, but he jukes that Pulverize, then takes the Lantern. Flash on PoE!
He finds the danger zone! Froggen continues chasing. Dexter's thrown down Agony's Embrace, and Unicorns are able to disengage effectively.
Little trigger happy there on a flash from Froggen. Unicorns were expecting more members of Elements to show up. They're actually kind of frightened there, but yeah, Hylissang.
I was expecting more.
Yeah, I was expecting more. But yeah, three Pulverizes in a row that just didn't quite connect, so not used to seeing that from Hylissang. Usually on point with these abilities, but tier 2 tower bots falling.
Mid tower falling well. Krepo, this sort of strategic rotation game has ended up costing both teams their outer towers for varying reasons. Rather, outer and inner.
I wouldn't call these too many rotations. It just feels like, okay, we choose one tower, you guys get another. It's not like they're setting up waves and moving between the lanes. It's kind of just happening, and they're
actions and reactions.
They're not choosing to defend certain towers. They're looking for openings. I still want to see Tabzz roam though with that Blade of the Ruined King. Just a Twitch popping out of nowhere. That can be quite scary. Elements are okay with this though. They have, I would argue, better late game, especially once Tabzz can pop his ulti later in these fights and have this massive range advantage. Also, we'll have to be careful. On the hunt plus Alistar plus Shen. Shut you down rather quickly.
And we have seen how much damage a Runeglaive Ezreal can deal if can make it to the late game. When Pepinero played it against Fnatic. Dexter gets caught by a cocoon, and that reduced cocoon timing means easy escape.
Liking the Thresh on Nyph. A couple of nice lanterns so far to catch these overextending Elements members back to their support. And this is usually the phase where the game goes a little stale, goes a little slower. Tier 1 towers have fallen. You actually need rotations right now to open up Tier 2 towers if you really want to. And these are teams that are traditionally fine with just farming it out too.
Krepo, the one thing that Elements has done in the past Well, we'll get to that. Look at the positioning from Dexter. Teleport comes out in the middle lane. That's going to be from Froggen coming up top. The box is down. Rat-a-tat-tat. Unicorns go splat. PowerOfEvil's retreating. Vardags is going to flash over the wall, and Chachi will at least get a reply kill. Top laner on top laner action. Dexter, Froggen, Nyph, they will find Chachi in a 2-for-1.
And a good fight by Dexter there, and he managed to survive long enough. He did exactly what he needed to do. Draw aggro, survive, use that shield, keep members busy hitting him, then flash out immediately. Don't give the kill over. Tabzz with good damage, Froggen untouched, so they force Unicorn's carries to flash out defensively here. Or dash out. PoE and Vardags both had to split, and that left Chachi alone and exposed. So good opening by Elements. They punished the tier 1 tower push in the mid lane. Yourself take one more dragon here.
Dragon goes down. True shot barrage just to help a little. Despite full vision from the ward. Evens out the dragons 1-1. So there's
just keep your eyes on Dexter right here. See how many people he actually connects with the ulti. He's out. Doesn't actually use his ulti, it seems. There he goes. He goes back in again for the return. But yeah, he buys some time. He wants people to chase him. Flashes out. Survives long enough. Good positioning from him here. For some defensive uses of the carries. Nobody wants to get group ultied by the Evelyn. That's why people jump out. They get afraid. They didn't expect him. So we'll need to see the Unicorns place more pink wards. Because you can't afford to be surprised on your flanks when you're pushing and when you're sieging. That's simply, it's too easy to let that happen. Just ward your sides, double pink ward on each side so you know where Evelyn's not coming from. And then you can at least expect if she's way behind you or way in front of you. And then it makes the game a lot easier.
4 out of the 5 Unicorns have pink wards in their inventories. We need to keep track of how many times they can continue to do that.
Definitely so. And the one thing though that worries me for Elements' sake is their siege. Twitch is one of the lowest range AD carries base. Of course, he can pop his ultimate to get the tower down, and that's what we see often when teams with Twitch get a lead, but not big enough to just dive to win a fight. So they just pop the ulti on a tower, just take it down, and then reset the fight. So to see if Elements actually learn how to close, because traditionally speaking, that has been an issue of them.
Unicorns, they're playing actually what I would consider their de facto, a scaling poke mid. Look at this, Elements pushing out the top wave.
They're grouping as 5 with poor siege. Not quite the decision I had in mind for Elements. At the same time, they need to be able to beat Chachi in a split push too. Both are getting incredibly tanky, but Chachi has that Sunfire to his advantage for the push.
Something we also have to highlight is that Unicorns have slightly to significantly better wave clear than Elements. Because Ryze short range, Twitch short range unless he pops his ulti. Even Nautilus, despite having some AoE, it's risky wave clear.
Oh, yeah, definitely so, definitely so. Elements have lack of wave clear, so they're bad against siege in that regard. However, they have good fight. You know, if people siege on Elements, they just want to immediately fight. They want to send in the Nautilus ulti, they want to get Dexter flanking, flash snare, ulti from Tabzz. It's fine if people siege into you when you're playing Twitch, because then you can line them up and shoot them down. But sieging yourself, you don't have the cooldowns to do that. So you can't force a fight under the enemy's tower. You want to whittle that tower down over and over. Against Ezreal with AoE clear. Against an on the hunt or just boomerangs from Sivir, it's incredibly hard. So you need to introduce a split push component in your strategy, or force people away and then bait them into neutral objectives. The likes of Baron, Dragon, maybe a couple of buffs here and there.
Oh, I like the idea of split push Nautilus. We can try to dig a grave for the Unicorns. We're 21 minutes into the game, 5 kills to 2. Gonna call it even gold. Despite the fact Unicorns have an additional tower, it's not really equating to a very big lead.
Unicorn's still in control of the map right now, because they have, again, the push, the siege advantage, and Elements, they look a little lost. They don't know what to do. They're afraid to send somebody all the way to the bot lane, because it's too far away of the action. They can't really send Froggen. They should send Jwaow. Hopefully he starts moving there now.
And I feel like that's a slow push towards Elements as well.
Yeah, that's stacking up. That's stacking up towards Elements.
2 teleports on the sides of Elements, so they've got that split push power from multiple champions, if Froggen wants to do it. It's going to be, in my opinion, maybe more effective than Jwaow. Frozen Heart picked up, Banshee's Veil for Dexter.
Froggen.
So Ludens as well, so big item spikes is the TLDR.
Yeah, Froggen does like doing that split push on his mid lane, so in that sense, teleport is an additional benefit for the Elements lineup. However, he's very exposed, so if somebody shows up, they have no vision in that bottom side. Look at the wards. For Froggen to do that, they need to move there as a team once, put up the wards, let the lane push back, and then let him split push. He's just so afraid of getting caught out. Ryze, incredibly low mobility, as we see the The Wraith War here.
Well, we can see PowerOfEvil smite, not as timed as Dexter. We expect that from a jungler. Jwaw's going to get taunt up and...
That expires, actually.
That will time out the Lantern. Jwaw's still super tanky. Going to dredge line to the wall. Kikis and Chachi continue to chase. Aggressive repel. Flash, Cocoon still connects. Chachi should have taunt available. Dredge line comes up. True Shot Barrage connects. And the longest chase through the jungle occurs. Jwaow gets out.
Horribly long chase with very inefficient weapons. Froggen's finally down to the bot lane. This leaves the mid lane exposed. Dexter's prime position for a flank already. Let's see, pink wards, Unicorns. Where are you, pink wards? It's too late. Dexter trapping them in his web, unlike Kikis.
Teleporters available, Agony's Embraces come out. Dexter's starting to peel back for defense. Nyph is the first victim, but here comes Froggen. He's running in. Vardags has flashed away. Stand United gets interrupted by the dredge line. Vardags gets knocked up and Froggen still trying to find a target. Nyph, the only casualty thus far.
Froggen should have TP'd sooner, or Unicorns, or Elements should have waited a little longer with sending Dexter in, because I think it was the right play, the right idea, but just executed ever so slightly wrong, and Nyph kind of drops. I feel he could have held his flash too. He wanted to be very eager, go for the flash flay, but ended up just exposing him very hard. Elements could have took that fight a little slower, I feel. But very understandable that they did what they did, because they caught the Unicorns between a rock and a hard place, but they just managed to get out. That Shen shield came in handy. Let's watch that again. Look at the right. Teleport's going to come in from Froggen, but it takes 5 seconds to land. So 1, 2, but Dexter's already in, and keep your eyes on Nyph. Half HP flashes in. Doesn't really accomplish anything. Puts himself in harm's way. PoE gets a free shot at him. Right now Dexter's chasing out, still half HP. So I really feel Nyph was trigger happy on that flash there. And then Chachi flashes out. Very close. But good flank by Dexter. He's reading the game very well right now, because he's constantly in position of those flanks when he needs to be. It's not like magically Unicorns are sieging and then Dexter's walking around. He's already aware of what's going on.
There's no box available.
No ulti, no ulti.
Hylissang's caught out. Hylissang's down.
This is something for the mindset of Alistar players, which is very hard to capture, because you're so used to having Unbreakable Will up every time. When you come out right after a fight, it's obviously still down, especially earlier in the game. And you play as if you have it, but good players will track that cooldown and say, okay, well, you don't have ulti, you're just straight up dead here.
And he was. Dragon number 2. Secured for Elements.
Tabzz is scaling up with the Yomus too.
I mean, it's more power. Froggen's got that Seraph's completed. There's another BF sword for PowerOfEvil. Tabzz has had pretty good rat-a-tat-tats in those team fights in the mid lane.
Yeah, we're looking at a ticking time bomb as this front line gets beefier and beefier for Elements. Jwaow building pure tank disruption. And Dexter, in addition to that warrior, he's still a threat to the backline, but he's getting tankier right now. He can itemize to be some MR to survive in these fights, because obviously very heavy magic damage. Just a Sivir of AD there. It's going to get rough for these Unicorns, because time is definitely in Elements' favor. However, they will need a Baron to close. Their siege is rather abysmal.
Well, if Elements can find the team fight, use that neutral objective that you talked about a little while ago, they can just peel maybe and look for Unicorns. I like the fact that Kikis has picked up the locket. Probably my favorite item in the whole game. And it is after the Runeglaive, so a little bit of team tankiness, utility.
And finally, teams are starting to build magic resistance against magic resistance poke. It took them a very long time to do so. Aegis on the side of Nyph, which means he should actually stay back more in these fights. Just keep that aura up for his teammates, and then it allows your front line to build very greedy, very selfishly, because both Banshees are picked up by the front line from Elements, so they can stay alive long. Nyph has the aura for them too in the middle of that, and this protects your damage dealers, your Twitch and your Ryze.
Krepo, we are cresting ourselves towards the late game. 27 minutes in, there's only 3 dragons secured. Inner turret was sieged up a few minutes ago by UOL. You can see the teleport still not available for either Jwaow or Froggen. If Unicorns commit, they're in trouble. Jwaow is going to find at least 3 Unicorns in front, and Kikis, Chachi, split pushing down bottom. Sun's going to get caught out. Death Sentence connects. Stand United already being channeled. That was a good True Shot Barrage and a 2-man taunt. Tabzz is rat-a-tat-tatting on the sides. Contaminate will find Kikis and Vardags. That's another kill for Elements. We see Chachi doing the best he can. We finally see Tabzz dropping. A messy fight ends a 4-for-3.
This obviously started very well for Elements, because Unicorns were obligated to use their defensive Shen ulti on Unbreakable Will Alistar. Bit of a miscommunication there, and Elements, the man of the fight was Tabzz, and he's doing what he couldn't do before in season. He's gonna flash aggressively. Just keep your eyes on him. Jwaow eventually goes low. Dexter and Jwaow so far have 100% kill participation. They're driving these fights. Hylissang gets a Shen ulti. Combo goes wide. Double Tom, but Froggen survives. But look at Tabzz. He's untouched right now. Froggen has his shield, so nobody can close out the game on him. He's full HP, so Tabzz flashes in because he knows if he takes down some people here, he will win the fight for his team. Eventually, Elements can clean up, and beautiful aggressive flash here from Tabzz. Unluckily for Elements, Jwaow goes down in the back, but Froggen, he was the one aggressed up on its start. He survived that fight. This is looking grim for the Unicorns because the counter engage from Elements is getting bigger and bigger, and they have to. Unicorns have to take down this Ryze, who's very beefy and very tanky, or they need to get the Twitch, and Tabzz so far has shown very good positioning and then turns the switch aggressive wide, so definitely good play by Elements.
Even up that gold. Continue to find the flanks. Baron has finally been pink warded. Couple of wards in and around the objective, so both of these teams could stop playing that. We feel a little more important for Elements though.
At the start of the split, when Jwaow came in, he was a bit of a question mark, and people were honestly critiquing his play. Right now, him combined with Dexter are involved in every kill so far. 10 assists on this tanky nuisance Nautilus, so it's working for Elements. And Dexter, the metronome of Elements, like Sean said, 4-1 in 6, gets early openings, and on these team fights, managed to hit everybody while still barely dying. So good frontline play by him, allowing his carries to carry. Nyph.
Taunted, Cocoon, Vardags throws out the boomerang! But it's a true shot barrage that gets a kill.
You should always throw in your lantern first when you face check that. It's a big mistake by Nyph again. But obviously you need your help from your team to face check too. Now Froggen's teleporting.
Can Tabzz line up the ultimate on the Hunter's throne? Unicorns have peeled away. That's a taunt flash. 5 versus 4. Tabzz is knocked up and taken out by Kikis. Without the damage, what can Elements do? Jwaow and Froggen trying to throw them out. Froggen chucking out those Qs, those orbs. It's simply not enough. PowerOfEvil, arcane shift forward. Hylissang finds a knockup. Kikis lands the cocoon. Froggen goes down. It's Vardags that gets a kill.
Zero hesitation on the side of the Unicorns. Clean up that fight so quickly. Elements needed a lantern to reposition their carries, but the lantern was in the grave with Nyph. Good ulti from Jwaow though. Depth charge knocked up 3 people. Ball enough time. I felt like Elements could win this. As we see Dexter playing solid snake right here. Gonna watch this for a while.
Baron, 3,000, 2,000. Will it be spiked? Unicorns have multiple smites. Dexter's going in. Teleport's coming in as well. Vardags is focused down. Baron's going low. Jwaow wants to disrupt. PowerOfEvil will secure with the Rune Glaive Ezreal. Now Jwaow and Nyph are in trouble. They found Vardags before losing Nyph again. Jwaow should be able to pull himself to safety.
Yeah, this all goes back to Froggen being on the bot lane and Elements losing vision control around Baron. Their lineup just isn't built for face checking, it's for setting up these fights. We can watch it again what happens right now, but this is already the culmination of poor play. They should never get into this position where they have to face check 4 against 5. They find Tabzz, the one target they need to find. Combo after the taunt, and Tabz's flash was still down from that previous fight. So Elements, they need to know that they can't play like this. You can't play against a Sivir composition with your mid laner on the bot lane because you need to move around as a pack to maintain that vision until your AD carry gets flash up. And Hylissang with the flash combo. Honestly, pretty hard to do. If you screw it up, you look absolutely stupid. Yeah, good play. Unicorns tie up the game. 5,000 gold in the lead right now. Poor map play from Elements got them into the position. And no amount of outplays will save you because Tabzz, it's so hard to dodge that hard engage with Sivir ulti.
Elements did get Dragon while we were watching the replay. Small consolation prize. And if Unicorns are pushing in one lane, it'll give some flanking opportunities to Dexter. But now Elements are 6,000 gold down. And Elements have to deal with a very scary Ezreal, as well as this Sivir that now has Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper, and Eye Edge. Again, a lot of damage to deal with. Is Elements out of position? In trouble. Take a look in the jungle. We may see another fight happening. Overload's coming out for Froggen. 4 members of Elements stacked high. They're waiting for Dexter to come in for the re-engage. Contaminate's available. We'll need to see if Tabzz can get the connection. Dredgeline finds Chachi. We do see a taunt coming back as the kill is secured by PowerOfEvil. A multi-man knockup before Hylissang gets killed. Elements find themselves a 3-for-1.
Pretty comical fight overall. We saw Dexter approach the Brumbleback pit. Wait, Tabzz?
It's not over yet. PowerOfEvil's going in. PowerOfEvil's going to kill Tabzz.
Unicorns kept tabs on Tabzz and found him even though he was invisible. But Dexter walked into that pit thinking he had flash, then had to walk all the way around. Then the Unicorns get baited in by their own aggression, really. They got that combo. Let's watch that again here. How it all started. Froggen flashed there aggressively. Oh, PoE flashes just in time. Gets saved actually, put back in good position here. So good start from Elements overall. Hook kind of goes wide from Nyph. Good depth stars again. Now they're on the run. So eventually, look at Dexter, he's in the pit, and he realizes, I don't have flash this path all the way around. Kashi gets pulled in. Taunts, good taunt, but this is where the Unicorns just have to disengage. Twitch is still full HP. Even if you man a 3-man combo, yes, you have that proc from the Lunas, but it's not enough. You need your front line alive for this. And a little bit of greed here. Let's see if it's a reaction or prediction.
Into the pink ward.
Yeah, it's the pink ward.
So, you asked where the pink wards were.
That's where they were.
Found one.
Got him, boys. But yeah, good fight by Elements right there. I feel critique a couple of hooks from Nyph, but other than that, good aggression and good pacing and good peeling from Jwaow. Overall, he's doing his job on this top lane Nautilus. It's very hard to get through him because you can't really ignore him because he puts himself in the middle of your team, presses Riptide, depth charge. You're going for a pick.
Dexter's in trouble. Take a look at the mini-map. You can see the pink wards littered on the top half.
They're learning. The Unicorns are adapting to the game right now. They figure out what's going on. They said, okay, Dexter, fool me once, twice, or thrice, but eventually we will catch on that you're playing flanking champion on Evelyn. Now they can use their superior siege to combat the very poor wave clear. Elements stuck.
The rock in the hard place is now caught. Elements, they will wave clear. Not before losing 50% of the tower. Hylissang gets caught and decent damage from Froggen.
This is not the first time. This is not the first time Elements is playing a composition with very low wave clear. It comes to bite them in the ass.
Hook City, nothing connects. It's 35 minutes on the hunt as well as the coin. Jwaow is already down. There's minions on the inhibitor turret down bottom, and Tabzz is looking to get through the gate. Kikis gets hooked. Snipe! Mystic shot snipes Tabzz down. True shot barrage flies across the Elements roster, and Unicorns of Love look for one more. A little bit of a whoopsie from Hylissang, but they get the tower, they get the inhibitor, and they can go bottom for more.
Little bit of oopsie, yeah. Hook City, population 0, sadly enough for Elements. And yeah, they're playing double flank, but Hylissang is very aware of his surroundings. Every time somebody pops up in his shadows, whether it's Evelyn or Twitch, he seems to be ready for it. Either he knocks them back, or he combos the pulverize knock-up with the headbutt. He fails once after flash, but I said this before, it's very tricky to do that. Especially because, at least if you fail, you knock him away. But PoE, a bout with Froggen.
That was, well, teleport, I guess. Half the cooldown.
Yeah, but Froggen used his too. And even if he got that kill, they couldn't really tie it into an objective. I feel it's very greedy to go for that kill when Dragon is 130 away, Baron is 140 away. It's a bit of a waste. Because now, Froggen is no longer a resource available for split push. Because he has to stay with the team, because he simply can't path back in place, in time.
For 35 minutes, Unicorns of Love have cracked open Elements base. 10,000 gold in the advantage. They're still down on Dragons, but that does not matter. And you can push an exposed inhibitor down bottom as well, and just try to time it with those supers up top. The only thing is, all of the vision is invested in the top half of the map, so a little bit of planning, a little bit of wards need to get put down to make sure Unicorns don't get caught out from behind.
The key things to watch for this matchup right now is Dexter, and if he's spotted somewhere, and then the flashes from Froggen and Tabzz. To see if they can find one of those carries. Remember, Unicorns are only playing double threat. Elise is built tank. After that, wave. Dexter, he just wants to path himself into a position where Unicorns don't expect him. Here we go.
So we see the big mine coming out. It's following PowerOfEvil. True Shot Barrage connects with 2, but Froggen is still
push mid, rotate.
Vardags has been able to peel back with Elements. Gonna decide to recall. Don't want to get themselves in a base race scenario with supers on their Nexus turret up top shortly.
I feel if Elements didn't go for the engage and sent one mid, they could have just rotated the Unicorns completely. But because his top tower is down, obviously, Unicorn's gonna react and push down an inhibitor. Look at the top wave as well, massive. Froggen flashes.
Flash forward, the taunt does not connect. Dexter is just going for the full frontal. Tabzz has been dropped. His flank simply failed. Stands united onto Kikis. Let's see if Chachi can find a secondary taunt. That's it, taunt into flash onto Froggen. Hylissang knocks up 2. Dexter's dropped as the follow-up. Unicorns of Love continue to push down this fight. Vardags is peeled away. Another taunt from Chachi. This fight is going on forever. Unicorns have secured a Nexus turret with the help of their Winions, and the Unicorns will be looking to take the game from Elements.
Unicorns managed to find a win the last game, presumably with their jungler Kikis. He quoted online that he wasn't feeling comfortable anymore in the team environment, because Elise can exit with a smile, and Elements, same good things. Dexter's early game, fantastic. Good openings. Jwaow slightly better. Then still the shot calling in the mid game. The draft lacking in some aspects and very, very greedy composition. Beautiful if it works. Getting away with murder, getting away with Ryze and Twitch is fantastic if you can do it. But it's so easily punished. One slip up, one mistake, and you really feel that lack of wave clear. You really feel that lack of siege potential.
Would you say limited comeback mechanics?
Definitely so. If you get put on the back foot, then obviously you're suffering, and that man right there, fantastic early. Contrasted enough, involved in the first 6 kills, first 10 kills. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere, but
still, by the end of the game,
enough.
14 out of 15 kills Dexter was involved in. But a backpack can only get so big. Unfortunately for Elements, they lose another game. So Elements are now 5 wins and 9 losses. In contrast, Unicorns of Love, 7-7. We keep talking about how Unicorns finished the spring split.
9-9.
9-9.
And another win for Sivir, most importantly. This champion should... Yeah. Not
where's that sentence going?
Unicorns telegraph it to a team that traditionally bans Kalista so often, as you said. Bans it on 3rd pick, and then, yeah. Do you really want to ban that Morgana from Hylissang? He still did his job on Alistar, 0-3-17. Involved in nearly all the kills, 20 kills on the board for Unicorns. So, I really think putting Vardags in a role where he's not utility for his team is probably the pressure point you want to do against the Unicorns, because traditionally speaking, let's be honest guys, Vardags hasn't had the best performance in the split. Very low in terms of damage and what goal he gets from his team. But because he plays Sivir, he can provide his utility, this on the hunt, just deal good team fight damage. You don't need to hit the right target, because Sivir is all AoE. You can literally hit anybody and it works. This champion is very, very strong. And then her counterpart Kalista was banned out by the Unicorns so far, and they pick it up on first rotation, and they reap the benefits.
Smart pick and ban from Unicorns to get a power pick, make sure they have the tools they need to win the game, and they press the advantage when they needed to. Anyways, going to head over to the analyst desk to take a look at how the Unicorns